The people who keep winning are not always stronger, louder, or more talented. They are often the ones who know when to move, when to wait, when to stay silent, and when to let others reveal themselves first. While everyone else reacts to pressure, they study the room. While others rush to prove they are right, they protect their position. This is the quiet code behind strategic minds. Machiavelli understood that power moves through human nature, hidden interests, fear, desire, and timing. Sun Tzu understood that victory often begins before conflict appears in the calm reading of the terrain. Together, they reveal a principle most people learn too late. If you cannot govern your impulse, someone else can direct your life. Strategy is not about manipulation, it is about clarity. It is about seeing the game before you become a piece on someone else's board. The first lesson is simple. Strategy begins when reaction ends. Most people lose position because they answer life too quickly. A message arrives and they respond from emotion. A person provokes them and they reveal their weakness. A problem appears and they move before reading the terrain. They call it honesty, courage, or speed. But often it is only impulse wearing a respectable name. You can see this pattern in arguments, business, relationships, and daily decisions. Someone says something sharp, and instead of observing the intention behind it, you defend yourself immediately. A chance appears, and instead of measuring the risk, you jump because you fear missing out. Then later, when the damage is done, you realize the problem was not the situation. It was the speed of your reaction. The strategic shift is to create space before movement. Pause before you answer. Look at what is being said, what is being hidden, and what emotion is being activated inside you. The person who can pause owns the next move. This is not weakness. This is control. A calm mind does not rush to enter every battlefield. It first asks whether the battle deserves its energy. Machiavelli understood that the surface is rarely the whole truth. People can smile while competing, praise while calculating, agree while preparing distance, and stay polite while protecting their own interest. This does not mean you should become paranoid. It means you should become observant. The terrain is not only what people say, it is what their patterns reveal over time. Many people suffer because they trust words faster than behavior. They hear a promise and ignore the delay. They hear an apology and ignore the repetition. They hear affection and ignore the disrespect. They hear confidence and ignore the insecurity beneath it. Then they feel betrayed. Even though the truth was not completely hidden, it was simply inconvenient to notice. The stronger path is to let time verify what words announce. Do not rush to judge, but do not rush to believe either. Watch what people do when they are denied, challenged, ignored, or asked to be accountable. That is where character leaks through. A strategist does not hate people. He simply refuses to trade clear observation for comforting stories. Sun Tzu would understand the power of silence because silence protects information. Many people speak to reduce discomfort, not to create clarity. They explain too soon, reveal too much, defend too quickly, and fill every pause because quietness makes them nervous. But every unnecessary word gives the room more material to use, question, twist, or measure. This is why impulsive communication can become expensive. In a tense meeting, one extra sentence can reveal fear. In a negotiation, one nervous explanation can weaken your position. In a personal conflict, one emotional paragraph can turn a simple issue into a larger wound. People often think silence means they have nothing to say. Sometimes it means they have enough control not to say the wrong thing. The practical move is to speak with intention. Say what is necessary, not everything that is available. Let silence test the room. Let others clarify themselves. Let pressure expose what noise tries to hide. A strategic man does not use silence to punish. He uses it to remain clear. The less he needs to prove in the moment, the more power his words have when he finally speaks. One of the deepest lessons from both Machiavelli and Sun Tzu is that timing can be stronger than force. The same action can succeed or fail depending on when it is taken. A truth said too early can be rejected. A move made too late can lose its value. A decision made in emotional heat can destroy what patience might have protected. You can see this in ordinary life. Someone tries to fix a conflict while both people are still angry, and the conversation becomes worse. Someone launches a plan before preparing the foundation, and the opportunity collapses under its own weight. Someone speaks before the other person is ready to listen, and the message dies before it can be understood. The strategic shift is to stop confusing delay with weakness. Sometimes waiting is not fear. It is precision. You are letting emotion cool information arrive and the terrain reveal itself. The wise move is not always the fastest move. It is the move made when your mind, the moment, and the conditions are aligned enough to carry the weight of action. One of the easiest ways to lose strategy is to become addicted to proving yourself. Someone doubts you, and suddenly your energy leaves the plan and runs toward their opinion. Someone misunderstands you, and you feel the urge to explain everything. Someone challenges your image, and you want to respond immediately. That impulse feels powerful, but it usually makes you easier to move. This is how people are pulled out of position. They enter arguments that do not matter. They reveal plans to people who cannot help them. They waste emotional energy correcting every false impression. They treat every criticism like an emergency. And while they are busy defending their image, their attention moves away from the result they were supposed to build. The stronger response is to let results speak slowly. Not every doubt needs an answer. Not every insult needs a defense. Not every misunderstanding needs immediate repair. Protect the mission from your ego. The strategist does not win by convincing every observer. He wins by staying aligned with the objective while others waste themselves chasing reactions. A strategic mind learns to read intentions without becoming poisoned by suspicion. This is an important difference. Paranoia assumes everyone is dangerous. Observation simply asks what pattern is being repeated. Machiavelli would not tell you to hate people. He would tell you to notice them clearly. The goal is not to become cold. The goal is to stop being blind. In real life, intentions rarely arrive with a label. They show up in tone, timing, pressure, avoidance, and repetition. Someone may offer help while quietly seeking control. Someone may praise you while measuring your weakness. Someone may stay close only when they need access to your energy. If you only listen to words, you may miss the movement underneath them. The practical shift is to observe without rushing to accuse. Watch consistency. Watch what happens when someone does not get what they want. Watch how they treat people who cannot benefit them. This is where character becomes visible. You do not need to expose every hidden motive. You only need enough clarity to choose your distance, your words, and your next move wisely. Patience is often misunderstood because people confuse it with passivity. But in strategy, patience is leverage. It gives information time to surface, emotion time to cool, and weak plans time to reveal themselves. Sun Tzu understood that the person who can wait without losing direction has an advantage over the person who moves just to reduce discomfort. You can see the opposite in people who cannot wait. They send the second message too soon. They accept the first offer because silence makes them nervous. They reveal their plan before the moment is ready. They make emotional decisions because delay feels unbearable. Their problem is not lack of intelligence. Their problem is that urgency keeps stealing their judgment. The stronger move is to let time become part of your strategy. Wait long enough to see what changes. Wait long enough to hear what is not being said. Wait long enough for your own emotion to settle. Then act with precision. Patience does not mean doing nothing. It means refusing to move before your mind. The terrain and the timing are aligned. Every provocation is an invitation to leave your center. Someone attacks your pride, questions your competence, mocks your silence, or pushes a sensitive place inside you. The obvious reaction is to defend, explain, or strike back. But that is exactly why provocation works. It does not need to defeat you. It only needs to make you abandon your discipline. This happens everywhere in relationships. Someone says the one sentence that always makes you react. At work, someone questions you in public to pull emotion out of you. Online, strangers throw words like hooks, hoping you will bite. If they can choose your emotional state, they can influence your next decision. That is why your center must be guarded. The strategic response is not to become emotionless. It is to stop giving every provocation direct access to your behavior. Notice the hook before you grab it. Ask what the person gains if you lose control. Return to your objective. Speak only if speaking serves the purpose. Silence only if silence protects the purpose. Your center is not a feeling. It is a command post. Sun Tzu's strongest lesson is that the best victory often happens before the fight begins. Many people think winning means overpowering the other side, proving a point, or having the last word. But sometimes the highest form of strategy is removing the need for conflict. You do not win because you crushed resistance. You win because you made resistance irrelevant. In daily life, this means not turning every disagreement into a war. A tense conversation can be redirected to facts. A power struggle can be dissolved by refusing to feed ego. A chaotic situation can be simplified by naming the real objective. Most conflicts grow because people defend identity instead of solving the problem in front of them. The practical move is to ask what victory actually means. Is it peace, clarity, distance, agreement, a better outcome? Once you define the real goal, you stop wasting energy on symbolic battles. Sometimes winning means speaking clearly. Sometimes it means walking away. Sometimes it means letting time expose what argument would only make louder. Strategic people do not love chaos, but they know how to read it. Chaos exposes what calm conditions hide. It shows who panics, who leads, who disappears, who exaggerates, who takes responsibility, and who only performs confidence when things are easy. This is why disorder can become useful. It reveals the real structure underneath the surface. Most people get lost when situations become uncertain. They react to every new detail, chase every rumor, and let the emotional temperature of the room decide their behavior. Their thoughts scatter, their speech becomes rushed, and their decisions become defensive. They see chaos as a threat only, so they miss the information hidden inside it. The strategic shift is to slow down and map the situation. What is happening? Who is affected? What changed? What is being assumed? What is actually known? What move creates the most stability? When you turn chaos into questions, confusion becomes structure. This is how a calm mind gains direction while everyone else is still reacting to the noise. Strategic minds do not treat every event as separate. They look for patterns. One mistake can be random, one delay can be innocent, one cold answer can mean nothing. But repetition changes the meaning. Machiavelli understood that human behavior reveals itself over time, not in one perfect speech. The person who studies patterns sees the game before others know they are inside it. Most people suffer because they explain away repeated signals. They call disrespect a bad day. They call inconsistency stress. They call manipulation confusion. They call selfishness personality. And because they want the situation to be simpler than it is, they keep ignoring the evidence. The pattern was not hidden. They were emotionally invested in not seeing it. The practical move is to track what repeats, not with bitterness, but with clarity. Watch repeated words, repeated excuses, repeated delays, repeated emotional games, and repeated results. A single moment may confuse you, but a pattern will educate you. When you learn to respect patterns, you stop being surprised by what was already announcing itself. Every situation has a frame. The frame decides what the conversation is really about, who is defining the terms, and what outcome feels natural. Strategic people notice the frame before they participate. If someone turns a simple question into a personal attack, the frame has changed. If someone makes you defend your worth instead of discussing the facts, the frame is controlling you. This is how people lose calm in conversations. They enter to solve a problem, but leave defending their character. They enter to clarify a misunderstanding, but end up apologizing for feelings they did not create. They enter to discuss one decision, but get dragged into old history. The frame moved, and because they did not notice, their energy followed it. The strategic shift is to return the conversation to the real objective. Ask, what are we actually deciding? Ask, what fact are we discussing? Ask, what outcome are we trying to create? These questions are not aggressive, they are stabilizing. The person who controls the frame does not need to dominate the room. He simply refuses to be pulled into the wrong conversation. Sun Tzu understood that rigidity creates defeat. Water survives because it adapts. It changes shape without losing its nature. Strategic people do the same. They may change the method, the timing, the tone, or the route, but they do not abandon the purpose. This is the difference between flexibility and weakness. Flexibility adjusts. Weakness forgets why it started. In daily life, many people confuse changing direction with failure. A plan does not work, so they feel ashamed. A relationship changes. so they cling harder. A business idea needs revision, so they call themselves inconsistent. But adaptation is not betrayal when the goal remains honest. Sometimes the path must bend because the terrain has finally told you the truth. The practical move is to ask what must remain fixed and what must remain flexible. Your values should stay firm. Your ego should stay movable. Your purpose should stay clear. Your methods should stay adjustable. A strategist does not worship his first plan. He listens to reality, corrects his course, and keeps moving with intention. Information is one of the most powerful forms of leverage. But strategic people do not collect information just to expose, embarrass, or control others. They collect it to understand reality more accurately. Machiavelli knew that a person who sees clearly makes better moves. Sun Tzu knew that a person who understands the terrain avoids unnecessary damage. The immature mind uses information for ego. It repeats private details to feel important. It weaponizes someone's weakness during conflict. It gathers facts only to win arguments. This may create a short victory, but it destroys trust. People eventually learn when your knowledge is not wisdom, but ammunition. The disciplined mind uses information with restraint. It asks what must be said, what must be protected, and what must be saved for the right moment. This is not secrecy for the sake of games. It is responsibility. When you treat information with care, your words gain weight. People trust the person who knows more than he says and says only what serves clarity. Not every battle deserves your energy. This is one of the hardest lessons for people who are used to defending themselves. A comment can be wrong and still not deserve correction. A person can misunderstand you and still not deserve access to your peace. A conflict can be real and still not be useful. Strategy begins when you stop treating every disturbance like a mission. You lose power when every provocation becomes urgent. You spend your attention on noise, your words on people who are not listening, and your strength on situations that will not improve. Then the real objective suffers because your energy has been divided. This is how many people stay busy while moving nowhere. They are active, but not strategic. The stronger move is to ask, does this serve the objective? If the answer is no, step back. If it protects your values, speak. If it only protects your ego, stay quiet. This question saves time, energy, and dignity. The strategist does not avoid all conflict. He chooses conflict with precision because he knows that wasted battles create invisible defeat. Strategic people understand that not every plan should be announced early. A young idea is easy to damage when it is exposed before it has strength. Machiavelli would recognize this immediately. People respond to unfinished plans with fear, envy, advice, doubt, or hidden resistance. Sometimes the smartest move is not to hide forever, but to protect the plan until it can stand. This is where many people sabotage themselves. They speak from excitement before they have structure. They tell the wrong person too soon. They invite opinions before the foundation is clear. Then the plan becomes crowded with other people's fear. Slowly, the original direction gets diluted, and what began as a strong intention turns into a confused negotiation. The strategic shift is to build quietly before you reveal openly. Let the first stage belong to discipline, research, preparation, and private clarity. Speak when your plan has shape. Share when feedback can improve it, not destroy it. A strategist does not need secrecy to feel powerful. He uses discretion so the right thing can grow without being crushed by the wrong environment. Time is one of the most underrated tools in strategy. Pressure makes people perform. Time makes people reveal. Under pressure, someone may say the right thing, promise the right change, or show the right face, but time tests whether the behavior is real. Sun Tzu understood that waiting can reveal the terrain more clearly than forcing an immediate answer. You can see this in trust, work, love, and conflict. A person can apologize beautifully in one moment and repeat the same pattern the next week. A partner can promise loyalty while still protecting options. A team can look committed during the meeting and disappear when responsibility becomes uncomfortable. Time separates image from character. The practical move is to stop forcing instant certainty. Let people show you what they keep choosing after the emotion fades. Let opportunities prove their weight. Let your own desire calm down before you name something destiny. Time does not solve everything, but it exposes enough. The patient mind sees what the desperate mind is too hungry to notice. A strategist treats energy like a limited resource. He does not spend it on every argument, every rumor, every emotional demand, or every person who wants access to his attention. Machiavelli studied power, and Sun Tzu studied war, but both would understand this clearly. A person who cannot protect his energy cannot protect his direction. Many people lose not because they lack talent, but because they leak energy everywhere. They over-explain to people who are not listening. They worry about judgments that will not matter in a month. They chase conversations that produce no clarity. They respond to every disturbance like it has authority over them. Their mind becomes tired before the real work even begins. The stronger move is to budget your energy before the world spends it for you. Decide what deserves attention, what deserves silence, what deserves distance, and what deserves action. This is not selfishness, this is leadership of the self. When your energy is protected, your decisions become cleaner, your timing becomes sharper, and your presence becomes harder to shake. Calm is not just a peaceful feeling. In strategy, calm is an advantage. It lets you see what angry people miss, hear what anxious people distort, and notice what rushed people ignore. When everyone else is moving from fear, ego, or urgency, the calm person gains distance. That distance becomes vision, and vision becomes power. This advantage appears in conflict. The angry person reveals too much. The anxious person accepts too little. The desperate person moves too soon. The proud person refuses to adjust. But the calm strategist watches all of this without needing to copy it. He does not become superior. He becomes available to the truth because his emotions are not blocking the view. The practice is to slow the body before you decide with the mind. Lower the voice, relax the face, breathe before the answer. Let the first wave pass. Then look again. Calm does not make you passive, it makes you precise. The person who can stay clear under pressure does not need to control the room. His clarity already changes the room. The final lesson is that the deepest victory is not over another person. It is over the part of you that can be bought by anger, fear, praise, pressure, or the need to be seen. Machiavelli and Sun Tzu both point toward the same truth from different roads. Before you can move through the world with strategy, you must first stop being moved by every impulse inside you. Without self-command, intelligence becomes unstable. You may understand the game and still lose because pride speaks first. You may see the terrain and still fall because desire pulls you too quickly. You may know the right move and still ruin it because emotion wants immediate relief. The enemy is not always outside. Sometimes it is the untrained part of you demanding control. Self-command means you can feel the impulse without obeying it. You can hear the insult without becoming smaller. You can receive pressure without losing direction. You can want something deeply without becoming desperate for it. This is where strategy becomes personal mastery. The one who governs himself cannot be easily played because he no longer gives others the control. The code of those who keep winning is not hidden because it is complicated. It is hidden because most people are too reactive to practice it. They want quick answers, fast victories, loud proof, and immediate control. But strategic minds move differently. They observe before they act. They read patterns before they trust words. They protect their center before they answer pressure. They use silence, timing, patience, and clarity as tools. Machiavelli teaches you to understand the human terrain. Sun Tzu teaches you to understand timing, conflict, and movement. But the deeper lesson belongs to you. If you can govern your impulse, protect your energy, choose your battles, and move with intention, life stops feeling like a series of traps and starts becoming a board you can finally read. The real winner is not the one who defeats everyone else. It is the one who no longer defeats himself. If this message helped you think more clearly, subscribe for more calm, practical reflections on strategy, discipline, emotional maturity, and self-command. Move in silence, read the terrain, let your calm become the move nobody saw coming.